Stand up and get ready, take your shirt off and shout rev deuces. Stream starts now. And now that I have your attention, it's time for us to get serious. Say hello and chat to your friends. Fires up the stream, hear the good vibes come. Let's distract you from that terrible day. Your wife doesn't suck, your husband is a nag. But here you matter, and there's very little lag. Rev deuces stream, yeah, we laugh as one. Telling dad jokes and flirting with every daughter and son. We're gonna burn our retirement homes on down and shake our asses like Nurse Rose Brown. Patch notes hit, he's already read it. Scopely's wild, he's not gonna edit. Game's a mess, he still stands tall with spreadsheet sass and a reverent call. Do you miss having someone to talk to when you're bored? To talk to when you ain't got nothing to do? Do you miss having someone to talk to when it's late at night? Well, have I got a stream for you? Rev deuces stream, yeah, we laugh as one. Telling dad jokes and flirting with every daughter and son. We're gonna burn our retirement homes on down and shake our asses like Nurse Rose Brown. Ain't nothing wrong with a little pawn far. Chat can't be trusted, it's a juvenile seminar.
All right, everybody, let's turn the tunes down. Let's jump into the show. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a lovely Tuesday. Hope you're having a fantastic one. I honestly do. Today, we're going to talk about potential Outpost updates coming up. Yep, potentially a little bit of rumor mill. Never hurt nobody. It's a little bit excited. Maybe a little bit of, a happy moment. Oh, happy moments. We don't have those around these parts. But we're going to talk about what you're doing in the game, help you out, and we'll go from there. We'll see what everything looks like based on where you're at. And hopefully you're not like me and you forgot to finish your Unity yesterday, so you've already missed on the overflow because you did not finish your battle pass yesterday. Whoopsie whoopsie. Welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day. Let me actually make my camera just a little bit smaller and we can fit all of our ships in it so we can get in here and do our grinds. I do hope y'all are having a fantastic weekend so far, and it is a pleasure and lovely to see everybody, of course. And yeah, rumor has it from Odell. Not from Odell. In fact, if we have to blame anybody from the rumors, it's Nigel. He's another one of our content creators here in the content creator sphere of Star Trek Fleet Command, because we need more people who want to devote their lives to putting voice and faces on the cameras and mics. Keep this game going. We actually had this conversation, for those who didn't see it, yesterday we did the state of the game with several content creators. We'll have that actually out on YouTube tomorrow for those who want to watch it. But yeah, there's a lot of people, and I think it's good. And I truly do believe it's only going to be because of the community that is part of content creation and because of the creators themselves that keeps this thing going. I mean, I really do truly believe that. So welcome in, everybody. Good to see y'all. Number one, good to see I Choose Life, Eddie, Kevin, Bosher, Wilcox, Moonleth is here, Red Wheel, Responsibility, Dozer. Good to see Mika here. Corey is here. Edward Pierre, the Scud Misal, Kevin, Barry Potter. That's how you pronounce his name. I know, because he's fancy. He's not Barry Porter. He's Barry Potter. He's very fancy. Welcome in, everybody. Again, I hope you're having a great weekend, and we're going to jump right into it. Hopefully, you also remember today, Anomalous Phenomenon. Don't forget your Anomalous Phenomenon if you're out there. That's something we're doing. We also, if you are in the G5 and above area, there's a lot of events that you could be working on, such as the Outpost runs right now, which, as you can see, I've almost finished my heroic, just basically running basic Outpost, which is an opportunity for you higher level players, G6, G7, particularly G7, to work on getting you some Sigma Par Steel, which is very much needed in the high G6 range of the game, but also just allowing people to, well, you know, get gooder, be better. Simple. So we'll continue to work with that as well and talk to all of y'all and answer your question with crewing. I feel like my entire weekend has been answering crewing about how do we do all the things, specifically Outpost. How do we crew for that? We've been doing a lot of that the past few days as well. Is there any news on the next Alliance tournaments? No, there's no official announcement on that. I do expect it here in the next week or two, so be looking out for it on a Wednesday. But I've not released an official announcement, and just because it's not my job to announce things for them, we'll see if they do it. That way, if I were to announce something that maybe they have talked about, hey, we're going to do this, and they change their mind, I don't look like an idiot with egg on my face. So, but I can tell you that, it's not forgotten. For anybody worried about that, it's not been forgotten. We're still going to have it. It's still happening. So if you have that concern, don't. It's okay. You're still going to get your precious Alliance tournament. And I say it kind of semi-sarcastic, but truly I do believe it's one of the best things in the game. So don't have any concerns. You're still getting it. It's not gone. It's not forgotten. And you know what? That could be a reasonable thing to be worried about for some people. So, completely fair. I'm going to go and start some exocomps, by the way, because I'm going to be blowing through on today's stream while we talk. I'm going to be blowing through a lot of materials just for it being the token weekend. And we're going to start upgrading some things. So if you're curious why I'm just, activating all these exocomps and doing all these things, that's why. So there you go. A little bit of heads up. Good to see you, Rev. Hey, nice name. Ghost Bob, Matt, Slagdoricus, welcome in. How are y'all doing? You'll be see me upgrading in Akira. Don't be alarmed. This is actually planned. This is intentional. This is not happening by accident. For all those curious, it is meant to happen. Okay, so just let it happen. That's what I'm saying. I do need to swap some officers out real quick, because doing this, I remember that I need more skill trees for some. It's not that one. Who am I looking for? Is it 7 of 9? Look for some efficiencies here while I'm doing this upgrade. I'm trying to remember who has it. Aha, there it is. Yeah. There we go. All right, so we're going to take down Kirk for the moment. And we'll put up 7. Because if I'm going to upgrade this Akira, I should do it efficiently. At least as efficient as possible. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Every little bit helps. Do you have an update on when they're going to fix the going back to pre-2025 lag and glitches patch? They've already done that. Choose life. That's already happened. If you're going to make negative comments, keep them to yourself. They've already done that. You just had a massive Unity update. So you've already got it. If it didn't work for you, I don't know what to tell you. But no reason to be negative for the sake of being negative. Do you want Officer Depot tokens for someone in the COTA event? I actually do not participate in the COTA event. I don't do it. I don't think the COTA event is worth it on the current iteration, which is actually a topic of discussion on the State of the Game podcast. I'm not a fan of COTA. When it first rolled out, yes, but as they've taken more and more scoring metrics away from it, it's just made it harder and harder to complete, basically forcing you to spin. I just ignore it completely now. Sure, I'm sure people out there are going to argue, well, you should do it anyway, just to complete some events. Not me. I'm very much anti-FOMO in the game, so if I don't feel like I can complete all of it, I'm just not going to do any of it, and I'm actually completely okay with that. Like, it doesn't upset me. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I just don't do it. So I actually don't bother with COTA at all. Now, if they go back to the better scoring metric and they start putting a little bit more space in between how long it is active as in terms of like when they actually run it, because they've been running it more and more closer together, then maybe I'll do it then. But as of now, it's a complete ignore. 1 second, I got a kid at the door. 1 second. All right. Children on a Sunday. Who would have guessed? All right, and the music is still going. Good. All right. So y'all can go ahead and use this as an opportunity to throw in comments and questions. As far as rumors, in terms of this upcoming mid-month patch update, we are anticipating, I'm not guaranteeing, but anticipating we're going to get some pretty nice updates. Again, anticipatory to the plunder payouts of the Outpost. So we discussed pretty vocally, I think amongst every content creator community and basically every Discord, that the prices on the new things were too high when it came to the plunder that one can acquire. And it looks like we might be getting more jumped in. So the current rumor is that a lot of these are going to get about a double in terms of increased payout. Now it depends on where you're at the lower levels of Outpost elites look to be getting almost a double jump, possibly. We'll see if it actually comes through. So don't go say Rev said. Again, this is just part of what we've been talking about in our group. We brought this up in State of the Game yesterday, where some of the lower levels of plunder getting more than what they had, going from like 6 to 12 on like the 53s. And then on the higher levels, having some increase on those, but the higher levels mostly staying the same, meaning that the proposed adjustments that we're expecting to see are mostly beneficial to the lower level players participating in Outpost versus the higher level players. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing if that actually happens. If it does, I think it's gonna be a great thing to help people have a reason to buy into the Outpost mechanic, because as we've talked about a lot, the Outpost mechanic does not work in a way that they wanted it to work. What I mean is, it's clear they like the idea of the Outpost being an active mechanic. Like, they want you to actively have 2, 3, 4 ships tied up in the Outpost, and then you're still playing the game, taking advantage of the buffs that Outpost provides. I just don't think that's going to apply to most players. I think most players are going to treat it like I treat it, which is, I'm going to do this overnight, and then I'll worry about it later. That's how I anticipate most people doing that. So with that said, you know, when you look at the long term of that, then you need to just let players have that passive ability, and also the lower level players, because they're not going to be there to do all the buffs and take advantage of maybe everything, giving them more for their effort to say, hey, you really should start this early on. So I'm hopeful. I'm expecting that. We'll see if it actually ends up happening, but I am hopeful. And for whatever that's worth, I do think that it would be a very good move for them to move this into an area where, yes, if you're 53, it's worth doing an Elite 53 instead of it just being maybe not worth your time. So that's my hope. We'll see if it ends up happening, though. Again, I don't like making guarantees for Scopely because I don't work for Scopely. I don't work for them, nor will I probably ever work for them. So, where do you turn in solo Kermata tokens? I don't know what that is. So I'm gonna need you to tell me what you're talking about, Scud Missile. I have no idea what a solo Kermata is. Did an Elite 53 last night. The increased loot on the upgrades was insane. The normal Outpost upgrades are already expensive. Yeah, and I am, again, personally, I'm not a fan of the upgrade path of the Outpost buff mechanic. If they lasted, say, 24 hours like an Exo comp, sure. But they don't. So I just completely ignore them. The only Outpost buff I ever pay attention to is the first buff. As in the first buff available, which is the one that's going to be the one that's targeting that Outpost. So in the case of the Borg that I'm always running, that's the one that's going to be targeting, going after the ISO defense. And I'll do that specifically for that Outpost that I'm running. But other than that, I basically ignore those, and I don't mess with them, and I don't touch them. So if you, let's see, Crenum Formation Armada. If it's a Crenum Formation Armada, that is over in the Artifact Gallery. If it's a Crenum Solo, that's in the DTI. That's in the DTI. The DTI faction, that is. Go ahead and start turning these in. Yo, Tom's good to see you. I am having a great Sunday afternoon. Welcome, and hope you are as well. Thank you for supporting the channel. Good to see you. And Denwit, congrats on doing a 53. Did you complete the 53, or did you just make it a little bit of the way through? Either way, that's awesome. Congratulations. I'm just curious, and I think I got a decent pull there. Same, you only do the retaliation attacker related upgrade, and those aren't sustainable on the normal past the first couple of levels. The elite ones, the first couple levels give almost nothing. I would argue that they are sustainable, but I get what you're saying. You know, I would definitely say it's sustainable, but I would think it really matters the level. Because you mentioned 53s, I would say 53s are sustainable. I would argue that the Sigma and above ones aren't sustainable because they cost so much Sigma par steel. I feel like the G5 have a great benefit in that y'all don't have to face the very high cost that are being expected of players when it comes to the, well, I mean, that Sigma par steel can end up costing you, $1 million plus Sigma par steel. And that is just, for the average player, you just don't have a lot of that laying around. Not most people have that just readily available to them. So, I can empathize to a degree, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, you know what? Does it make sense? Also, I wish I had the ability to do multiple of these at one time so I could get more of these interceptor parts that I'm grabbing. But yeah, like I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm like, don't fully agree. But I definitely understand what you're saying. The cost can be deemed high, but they're really high, I guess, at a higher level. So I guess it depends on what you're comparing it to. Yeah, usually I can get mine just by doing my normal refinery. I'll get it to 5 out of 10. And if I go a couple days where I don't do an outpost, then getting a 10 out of 10 is not that hard. There's also that trade down mechanic that maybe you use or maybe you don't. Right. And that can definitely affect how much you're able to do with terms of the upgrades. But also to your point is some of those bonuses aren't really that big anyway. Right. Like if you've got a maxed out Wrath of Khan Joaquin, how much do you really need, that bonus? If you're punching down, especially, you're not going to need it as much, right? Because there's going to be a lot less ISO damage that is pushing out. It just depends on what you're facing. So as long as you find something that works for you, focus on that, do that, right? You're just glad it's not Sigma Tritanium. Also true. Like, I'm still not grateful though, because there's a wall no matter where you're at, right? If you're level 72, Sigma Par Steel's a wall. If you're level 63 trying to upgrade your ships, maybe Sigma Tritanium's a wall. Maybe you're level 53 and you're just not at a point where you have just a overabundance of regular Tritanium because you're trying to save up so you can max out your ships once you get to level 60. Now, there's an argument for any player to make that costs get high and can be prohibitive, and I think that's completely fair, and it's worth shouting it out. So definitely get where you're coming from in that. It's like the 73, everything's a wall, and there's also truth to that as well, right? So obviously I want everybody to enjoy, but at the same time, I would be silly to act like there's not pain points in STFC. That's kind of the point. They like their pain points, right? It's kind of the whole idea of how this game works. But definitely get where you're coming from. Raven says, if I bother with the buff, I always stop when they start costing Sigma. It's also a reason why y'all might see a lot of your higher level players punching down an outpost. And you might go, why the heck would they do that? They get more rewards. That's a big reason why, is because the cost of those upgrades costs materials that those players are just not willing to give up. Just not, right? Just not willing to give up those very hard to get materials a lot of times. I'm gonna double check these, see if I've got any double pulls. All right, that one has a double pull. Good. Is this one? No. Look, I need to go OPC hunting again. All right, we'll get my single pulls in, but we need to do some OPC hunting for Transigen, and hopefully somebody's out there with the OPC that we need, because I need it. That's just a fact. I need the OPC. We'll go ahead and do that. Do our bulk refine one more time. Op 70 here, you stick to the 66s, and that's fair, Kyle. Now, at 66, you're still going to have to pay out the Sigma, right? That's just something that you're going to have to deal with at that level. But to your point, punching down can allow you to get more, especially with the elites, where if you remember, every wave an elite pays out plunder, right? So if players can punch an elite, you want to do that. Just like if you can do an elite wave, you would much rather do an elite wave than do a regular solo wave. Now, you got two different currencies, so you can technically do both. But if we're talking about being valuable with your time, an elite wave, if you can progress through it almost at all, is better to do, an elite, well, both. An elite outpost, just like an elite wave, is worth doing with your time more than a regular outpost or a regular wave. It's because of the payouts. So I'm sure a lot of people in this chat are probably in a similar boat where they're working on that, and trying to make themselves better if you're 53 and above or 51 and above at, elite outposts. And if you're a lower level player, then you're trying to get better at elite waves. It's a focus point. It's a goal that we all set in a bar we're trying to reach because the payouts are just significantly better. 71 says, Chad, hitting the 63 with a single ship full loot better. I mean, in terms of earnings, it can absolutely be better. I mean, I would argue that if you're punching down that far, as a 71, I really don't see why a 71, even single ship, would punch below a 66, but I don't know your ships in your loadout. So, like, if I was a 71, I think the lowest I would go is a 66. But I say that, and I see players all the time, even on my server, that I'll see 67s punching down to 56s, and I'm going, why are you doing that? And I'll, just sometimes those players just need a little bit of help with how they're loading out to be more effective. And sometimes those players just don't want the hassle. They want a guaranteed win where they don't bother with anything, which is also fair. I mean, if you just don't want to deal with having to worry about, do I have the right crews on, and you just want to send a ship, know that it's powerful enough to handle things, no problem, have at it, right? There's no wrong way to approach it, especially since we convinced them as a game, but as a community, to add more outposts. Now we're not running into as bad of an issue where there's not enough 56s on our server. There's not enough 60s on our server. There's not enough 53s. Now there's thankfully more, so there's room for everybody. Even if we still have those stupid Romulan ones over, I'm sorry, the Klingon ones, the nodes that nobody does. I don't know anybody who does the nodes. If you do a node outpost, please raise your hand, just because I would like to know if people actually go in there. If you do, that's not a shame, by the way. I genuinely want to know, does anybody actually do the node outpost, which many of us have deemed the worst ones based on the ability that they have, the toughest ones, I guess you could say. Does anybody even bother with them? I don't. I do the Borg ones only. They're the easiest ones to combat in terms of their ability, easiest ones to survive against. So that's what I choose. I've yet to see people really focusing in on the nodes. Lost In does? Of course he does. Of course he does. You know, he wants a challenge. It's got to be. Got to be. Doesn't FC Sisko negate their ability? If I had him, then I'd do them. Negate their ability is kind of an accurate way to describe it. It's not a complete negation. So he has an ability against all three types. And I think better wording would be, it's like he has an activatable ability or an exocomp like the Outpost does, but he just has a native ability that makes him better against them, which again, like Rage and Moonlit pointing out, we are, for those who don't know, Lost In is one of our regulars over on Twitch. He's also a heavy spender in the game. So while I don't think he's gone as far as some of my other heavy spenders, like I have a few people, I know 2 people specifically who are in our community who spent over $4 grand on FC Sisko to obtain him and to max him, right? So those people are going to have a very different experience. If you've unlocked Sisko and then paid to go into his outpost abilities, then a lot of things become more available to you that just aren't available to everybody else yet. But eventually, everybody will have access to a lot of those things if you're doing the loop, which is why that Tuesday update is so important to me. Because if we can bring the cost down or the plunder payouts up, that means the ability for you to free-to-play drip FC Sisko or the FC slot that starts at building 61 becomes more obtainable and easier. So that's why I'm really hoping for that. Oh wait, that's just the specialty currencies. Never mind. I'm staring at that. I mean, I probably need to do it anyway, but staring at that going, tempting. I need to start pulling Mirror Uhura. You will once Sisko learns the skill. Fair. Absolutely fair. He has Psionic Defense, which reduces the hypothermic decay against node outposts and node outpost relations up to 20%. Yes, but it doesn't remove it completely if I remember the math correct, but that was also last week. So I'd have to double check it. I don't think he removes it completely, but he does negate a good bit of it. But again, I'll have to double check. But either way, again, I'm sure we have 250 people here on a Sunday. 1, thank you for being here. 2, hit the follow if you haven't already. 3, how many people here have Fleet Commander Sisko? Just a show of hands, how many people have Fleet Commander Sisko in the chat right now? I'm going to assume, I'll just take a guess, just say 30 people. I'll just say 30 people of the 250 here, knowing that I have a lot of my high levels here right now. So we got 3 so far. I know Moonlith is high 60s. Nemesis is a G7 player. Rage has it, so 4. Slag's a G7 player, that's 5. Raven, 6 people so far in the chat. JC has 3 shards. I've got more than 3 shards. Dang, JC. Did you not even do the early code for the collections? So we've got Virtual Army. There's 7. Kyle. So far we've got 9, 10 people. We've made it to 10 people so far. Again, out of over 200. So if you've picked up Sisko, you have a unique opportunity to do something that obviously most people here can't do, which is awesome. But it doesn't help the rest of us. No FC Sisko. Yeah, even with Sisko taking out the special ability of the node hits 6 times as hard. Yeah, again, one thing that was brought up in State of the Game that I do love is the emphasis of a challenge. And I do think that's a very fair argument to bring up that, you know, as a player, if you can look past the FOMO, what's the reason to play STFC? And a lot of it is to find challenges and overcome them. And the nodes are a challenge. I don't fool with them because I'm still at a point where I want to unlock things. I want to get, I want to get FC Sisko. And to do that, I need plunder. I need a lot of plunder. And I need to do a lot of things to get that plunder. So I don't do that as much as other people do in terms of like nodes. But long term, yeah, I mean, I like the idea of a challenge. I like engaging in that, and I do that now. You know, it's like going against conventional wisdom, which says, hey, you don't need to get a G6 uncommon. Why waste materials? Well, because I decided to do that, I can now tell players who are getting into that range, new players, yeah, it's absolutely viable. Just the costs they're not prohibitive anymore. You can absolutely get there and enjoy it. It's all about finding what's good for you, and that can be just such a key thing that's lost when we get into all these debates and discussions about how to play the game. At the end of the day, challenges are fun. Simple. Challenges are fun. Most people want a challenge in their game, and I'm the same way. Slack says, I play STFC to share my charm, wit, and bonhomie. I don't even know what that is. Keith, thank you for supporting the channel. Good to see you. Of course, there's so much other loops are not complete, so you're not paying to start another. I'll get to it when I'm done. Yeah, that's how I play it. I believe that you should start the loop when it launches. As in, once it's there, yes, you do want to participate in the loop. Also, we just made it to tier 9. There we go. Do I have... Yep, I want to do it. I'm going to just go full force and blow some Latinum because it's cheaper to do it that way. Which that'll open up below. Oh, wait, I don't open it up. I got to do that 2 more tiers. But I just get significantly more whole health there. So that's nice. How much whole health are we at? I'm going to have to go hit a hostile to see it because that's lame. Okay, we'll have to hit a hostile to see how much whole health that jumped us up to. But that should help us more in our outpost. And that is helping us with our stuff. So you got Sisko 5 of 20. What do you mean 5 of 20? You mean 5 of 200, I assume is what you meant. And nice, very nice. Mine has been, again, needing to do more of the actual epics. Now, I think I'm at 5 as well, and that's behind where I could be. So, and we had a lot of fun last night. I actually took my daughter to a hockey game. I had somebody offer us free tickets, and let me tell you, there are a few things Rev can pass up in life that are free. So somebody offered me and my daughter free tickets to go to the hockey game. We went, and we won 12-1. So, I didn't get to finish my dailies yesterday because I was out with my daughter, but that was still worth it. So fun stuff. Fun stuff. You have Sisko. Your tier of him is 5 out of 20. Oh, very nice, George. Very nice. You've taken him. Not super far, but you've definitely taken him quite a bit early on. And how are you enjoying him? Are you feeling happy? Are you hopefully no buyer's remorse? And congratulations on having Sisko. Let me go and finish all these. Do I need? I do. Let me go and refine that. I've got them laying around. I might as well grab it. Save that for Alliance tournaments. I guess I could do the epic one just to get the credits. No, actually, it's the last epic I can pull. Mine. I have not done these in a while. Let me come on down here. Mantis, skip, artifacts, Voyager. We'll do that. Enjoying it, except the FC slot. So, when you say the FC slot, are you referring to the cost of the FC slot being 1 million plunder? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, it is high. And again, this upcoming Tuesday, there will be a patch, and we do believe the patch will include a jump up in that refinery. Or, I'm sorry, a jump up in the actual, what do you get in return cost. So the expectation, again, expectations are what they are. So take all this with a grain of salt. But the expectation is that players will be able to have, particularly our lower level players, double the payouts of the plunder, which might even see more and more of those high level players punching down to like 56s, just because one, they know they can do it. Maybe they can single ship it and they can just, as long as they've got the directives, right? But be on the lookout, keep your eyeballs peeled for that. So Tuesday, I'm hoping we have really good news to share. And I know I'm hyping it up a little bit. I'm not trying to be hype, but I am really excited if they end up doing what I've talked about. If they're doubling the cost, and other content creators have talked about this already, if that ends up being truth and we see doubling, then I'll be very, very excited. This one over here is, there we go. There's the bigger ones we're looking for. And let's see, warp range, still a problem. I guess I'll go here for now. All right. The outpost is a big cost, yes. And you hate that the outpost needs to be 61 before you can get the FC slot. So they basically put it behind a double paywall, right? Not only do you have to buy into this month, right? But you needed to buy into last month to make sure your building was 61 so you can start working on the free-to-play path now. Obviously, not a big fan of that personally. But for those of us who are, not spending on some of these, we'll just have to grind it out and wait it out. And many of us are experienced with doing that. So save doing Outpost until Tuesday when possible then. I don't know if I'd go that far because, again, there's a limitation to how many directives and stuff you can save anyway. But sure, if you want to save your elites till then, yeah, go for it. If you think that that'll result, if you're going to run them continually, sure. You're not Griffin, same. Is G6 ship specific research affecting Borg Cube? No. No. Not if it's specifically G6 specific, because the Cube is not a G6 ship. Cube is a G4 ship, even though it goes all the way up to level 70. So, let's see. Do we got anything to upgrade? We do not. Where are my mastery artifacts? All right, I'm 4 away from Spock's getting upgraded. Where are the other ones? All right, still quite a ways there. Oh, I've hit the level cap on Mbenga's storybook. We got to get it up to more level 12 artifacts. So what can that's what I get for sleeping on some of these other ones. I need to start maxing these out, like Sisko's baseball, the Oath coin. I need to start getting all these maxed out. I've been spending my sweet time ignoring them. I need to stop ignoring them. This is go back to the transgen refinery. We'll come back over here, and this is where we're going to start looking at. Do I not have any uncommon? Oh, those are the only uncommon ones. Here's our rares. And see, I really would hate to just start pulling these, but I guess I need to. Riker's trombone, get those maxed out. How much is that going to cost? It's not too bad. You start maxing these out. Forgot Lorca had 20% artifact efficiency skill. It really helped out a lot. Yeah, that's a big one. Lorca, don't forget, there's not just Lorca. There's other of those in there, but there are some efficiency skills that are really nice in here. Mine is maxed out, and that will combine, by the way, with the Eye of Ra. So they do work together. You have this one over here, which you can see I've ignored. It's fine, but I think that one has gotten more dated as time has progressed because it's easier and easier to get these FTs. Still think this is one of the best ones in the game. I still believe that even if you're a G7 player, this is still the best fleet commander in the game. Like, I know Sisko has a lot of good stuff, but I still do believe that this is the best one in the game. So, thank you, George, for gifting out 5 memberships to the channel. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me and mine. That is very kind of you, and I hope you're having an amazing Sunday and enjoying the chat with fellow STFCers. Thank you very much. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. As soon as you get some to tier 1, you can full max them. Yeah, those are only going to be the temporal artifacts, though. So your temporal artifacts, you can max them out pretty easily in here, which you are right that I have several of them here. Like, I've got the clock that I can still do and the portal. So if you have your temporal disruptors laying around, you can go ahead and spam those, max them out, and use that so that you can then get more of those activated. So anytime you get a temporal artifact, for those that don't know, anytime you get a temporal artifact in here, as long as you have the disruptors, you can then max it out immediately. That's also what we talked about with the Glavin, assuming you're of the appropriate level to max it out. Once you get those unlocked, you can start maxing them out right away. See, there's the clock right there that can get maxed out. And what was I just pulling? Gosh, there's so many, I gotta keep up with them. But sadly, things like trombone, the Oath coin, these aren't. So you can't max those out immediately with it. But gosh, what was I just pulling? You would think pulling 100 shards would have left an upgrade. Oh, it's the portal right here. I gotta get to Artifact Gallery 64. So let's go do the other one that is actually available. Let's do the one that actually is available. So yeah, temporal restorations is fantastic with anything that classifies as a temporal artifact. And we do have in the spreadsheet, for those remember, we have listed out what are temporal artifacts, which ones are actually temporal artifacts, that you can know what can I upgrade, what can I focus on. And it tells you the various paths. Good to see you, John, by the way. Shout out to server 84. Welcome in. And Key, thank you for giving out 5 memberships to the channel here on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. That is very, very kind. Thank you very much. That is super kind of you to support me and my kids. Thank you from my wife and from me. I greatly appreciate it. Let me go ahead and do this. And this is going to be nice for all these cost efficiencies. If you're using all of those, I have finished a lot of those, but it doesn't matter. More is more. And if nothing else, is going to make my account look stronger. And that's kind of a win for me. Good afternoon as well, Lars. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for coming and spending some time with me. We're currently upgrading artifacts. And yes, before anybody mentions, I know, COTA. Well, when the COTA actually includes this, it's great. But As I've said many times, for me personally, I don't really focus on stuff like that. If I get benefits, like right now I'm completing a March of Progress, like I'm scoring a March of Progress doing this. But eventually you run out of artifacts to max. So I don't really save for that. I just do it based on, hey, I'm sitting here, we can get it done. Let's get it done so I don't forget about it. So that's my logic for anybody curious as to why I'm doing something that maybe others don't. All right, now I can convert the excess shards I didn't need back into those. And now I need more of these now. So I'm out of temporal remnants. So we need to do more temporal remnants to keep pushing this to max. Yeah, sadly, it doesn't count uncommons anymore. And then that's also why we were talking about this in the State of the Game podcast. It's why I'm not as excited anymore about, well, a lot of things, but particularly COTA, is they remove so much of the scoring that I found relevant. And there's still a lot of things I like for example, Alliance tournaments, we can still come in with things like the Gateway, the Time Crystal, but the Janeway's Pocket Watch, the Chrome Time Weapon. So I've got right here about 3.5-ish saved up for free saved up Alliance tournament tasks, 10Ks right there, just between these two. And that's definitely really nice. But yeah, they remove so much of that. It's tough to have the same level of excitement, you know? It's tough to have the same level of excitement. I thought we had, all right, so that's already reached. I got most of these maxed. And of course, we can go back to our old school refinery. We still got that laying around. Even though they've cleaned it up, we still got the artifacts tab, which I know everybody loves. And I can turn these into this. There we go. Is there a list which artifact comes in temporal restoration when you get them to level 1? Anything that is a temporal artifact, like if it's listed as a temporal artifact, Bruno, that's the key, right? There are different classifications of artifacts. Like some of them are from the isolytic set of artifacts. Some of them are temporal artifacts. Some of them are mastery artifacts. It's specifically temporal artifacts that can go from 1 to up into the clouds. But they have to have that listing. And that is on the spreadsheet if you're looking for that. So you have 3,000 of them. Very nice red wheel. And I do encourage everybody, if you have the ability, that y'all should pull those every day. Oh, speaking of, I can max this out. Nice. Start maxing these out. Remember, it's important to max these out because, again, those mastery artifacts require you to have things maxed out so that you can then get full advantage. So I need to get more rares to 12, where there's one of them right there. So then I can come back down to the Mbenga and see I'm at 51 of 55 at level 12. So I need 4 more to take to level 12. So that's why we're, again, doing this right here to get all these to 12, or at least as many of these as I can, so we can get closer and closer to then upgrading more from these mastery artifacts, which to me are still some of the best things the game has ever released. And where did that other one go? Here it is. Moved for some reason. Now I'm at 52 out of 55, so I need 3 more to do that same thing. And it's just finding ones that we can actually do. Like at this point, I really should be doing the Kashara artifact, for example. I really should be investing more into that. Just at this point, I've gotten through a lot of the Alliance tournament stuff that I need, so I can do that there. Also, don't forget in your transition pulls, especially what you've got in your Serene Squall, to be paying attention to these over here. You have the artifact choice tokens, and like me, I've got these saved up. I might as well be pulling them. There you go. Gary Good says I do the temporal event in the tournaments as many times as I can, and then use them all during the Ascendant event. And that's a great way to be efficient. And I'm glad that you're calling that out. I think it's good to make sure everybody's aware of that. Obviously, I've gotten a little bit to where I'm not as big on being hyper efficient as I used to be, but it is still good to know that those are available and that you can take advantage of those, especially for those who are listening in who maybe are looking for different ways to up their stuff to the next level, right? Being efficient is definitely a way to help you catch up to the slags who are out there spending crazy money. Yep. All right. Let me go ahead and grab... Oh, there we go. March of Progress. See, I actually really needed these because we just upgraded the uncommon there. Let me come in here and start sending this out. Now that y'all mentioned Alliance tournaments, I really need an Alliance tournament to prop. The new Alliance tournament coming up here, so that I can start maxing out my Kashira artifact. Now that I'm falling behind on the masteries, that's actually a bit of an issue. Is field trading ever getting an update? At some point. It's updated, I think, once this year, but it just varies. Did you know that I am the same person that supports you on your Twitch? Absolutely not. If you've got different names on Twitch, YouTube, and in-game, and I don't mean this in a mean way, I will not remember. There's just too many people, which is great. I mean, like, again, we have 250 people live right now. I'll have another 250 on Twitch. If y'all don't have the same name, I will never connect the dots. I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate you, but if your name's not the exact same, I will not know. So, like Slag, I'm lucky Slag keeps his name the same on Discord, on Twitch, and on YouTube. So, like, when Slag's here, it's the same Slag every time. I won't remember people, and it's not that y'all aren't awesome. It's just that there's just so many people, and I try to do my best at answering everybody. So unless the names stay the same, I'll just assume that Moonlith and Moonrage are two different people. Yeah, exactly, Ken. Gingers do not remember names. It's not in our capability. Not in our capability. Will they add 7-star into the war room? I mean, possibly at some point. I mean, sure. One of those things that's very low priority. They're too busy trying to make sure all the G7 players are spending money right now to care about giving them economy updates. So, and I've actually said this. I'm very surprised that FC Sisko came out with economy updates as early as he did, because we've only had G7 for a little over a month. I'm surprised that y'all already got an economy booster. You just got to remember that that's very low priority for STFC, because G7 in their eyes should be a spend only area. They don't want anybody in there that isn't spending money. If you get there, they're going to let you be there. They're not going to kick you out, but they are going to make you face, forcible paywalls. Like, for example, James Bond, the free-to-play that we always talk about, we promote and encourage people to check out. He's stuck at 72. There's nothing he can do to go to 73 because there's a literal paywall there right now. And eventually that will evaporate and he'll be able to move up again. So will things eventually have upgrades in G7? Yeah. I mean, eventually G6 scrapping will exist, but nowhere anytime soon. Yeah. The first major economy updates usually take 3 to 6 months. Usually. Yeah. Reasonable addition of G7 materials, if it holds the pattern, won't be available till 1 year from a release at the earliest. It does depend on what you define as reasonable, right? Like, we're already seeing some basic efficiencies, but even that is so small compared to the thousands of dollars it costs to upgrade buildings in G7. So it's a slow grind. Do you have the stats on how many people have purchased FC Sisko? I do not. I could try to pull them up. I'll be honest, I didn't think of doing it. There was an event for him, so I can put a note and see, but I haven't. Here, I'll actually message Chrono right now while we're on stream. Maybe he can get to it. And we'll see if he's got the numbers, but I actually haven't looked. It is a good question, though. So, Ardalac, I'll take a look here and see. And if I don't have the information today, I'll have it by tomorrow. Yeah. I've been trouble getting the resources for the instant warp. I'm doing all my pulls and haven't gotten it yet. I don't know why. Do you have a Serene Squall? Because without the Serene Squall, the ability to get the jump juice is very RNG based. With the Serene Squall, you get basically a guaranteed drip every day. So do you have the Serene Squall yet? Do you have the Serene Squall? Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised that not more on my server bought him. Yeah, Chrono says he didn't grab the data, wasn't tracking it. I'll be honest, I don't know. I mean, again, we had 10 people in this chat say they got it. I don't think a lot of people went after FC Sisko. I think a lot of G7, if there is a percentage of players who got him, it is G7 players. But even then, I don't think a majority of G7 players went after FC Sisko. There's just again, hopefully the game gets better and this adjusts. But like right now, there's just not a lot of excitement to spend money on the game. So I don't know how many, so this is pure conjecture, but I think FC Sisko probably sold pretty equally to the Dauntless, which is not very well. The first 48 hours of the Dauntless was like 1,000 ships, which is quite low when you compare it to the Reliant. Obviously, the Reliant had the benefit of nostalgia and such, but yeah, it's probably not. I would venture to say not very much. But if I can get those numbers by tomorrow and give y'all a definite, I'll let you know. I think it's a great question to be had. Denny says, a safe zone for free to play is stay back a year on the newest stuff, at least being aggressive wise. It's just much easier 1 year later. Yeah, and specifically when you say stuff like that, I add in specifically, oh, I need enterprise data. Well, you're gonna have to wait then. Specifically, I mean, going into the premium area of the game. Like right now, I would encourage you, if you're level 53, do Outposts. Like, don't wait a year to do Outposts, but do Outposts at level 53, not 73. If you want to avoid the forced pain that is, we want you to buy this pack. All right? So just stay, if G7 is the latest thing, be in G6 or G5. If G8, be in G7, G6. And that way you can avoid that intended FOMO as much as possible. Yeah. Dustin says, even at upgrade my starbase, stops 39, not much incentive to spend real cash. Well, yeah, they've made the G3 economy so lucrative. There's really no reason to buy anything in G3 except maybe the extra dock, the extra builder, you know, extra researcher. Those have value in G3, right? But really not a reason to go out and buy a station upgrade pack. I mean, if you're buying a station upgrade pack in G3, you're probably just being lazy, not doing events for some reason. Like, you just don't feel like doing the events, which honestly sometimes is fair. Who wants to do the events every day? But yeah, the main arm twisting is currently in G7. That's where most of the, hey, if you want to stay cool, you got to spend. That's where a lot of that is right now. You went G6 and it's been easier than when most of my alliance mates went G5. Yeah, I mean, you can 100% free to play G6 now. I mean, Samo, another one of our content creators, I love shouting out the other CCs. Another one of our content creators, I'm going to adjust this real quick. I'm going to actually back off on that because I forgot to do my Thursdays. So, but she went through 61 to 70 in like 9 months. And she wasn't dropping big money. Right? The economy's definitely sped up quite a bit. Now, I don't like to play at that speed, personally. It's not for me. But, I mean, that wasn't doable even a year ago. And that's just what you have now available to you if you're either free to playing or spending, just how fast you can move if you want to. So Sisko might have done better because of his character. If it was FC Admiral Wallace, it would have failed. I honestly don't think so, because I don't think many people were like, there are a couple people like Moonlith who went and got Sisko because he's Sisko. But I'll be honest, I don't think most people did that. I don't think most people cared. So while I do get what you're saying, I don't think that applied to most people. I don't think people went out and bought Sisko because he's Sisko. And I think probably a reason for that is probably the Reliant. Because the Reliant, right or wrong, left a taste in some people's spending mouth because the Reliant did not come in immediately and do all the things. Which I don't know why people expected it to. I think that was a bad expectation to set for themselves, but people expected it. People wanted that to be the case, and it was not the case, and there were people unhappy about that. Yeah, I'll try to get the numbers, but I don't think a lot of people went after Sisko. And yeah, I still love Sisko, but you don't see a lot of people running around with her. Personally, I'm annoyed by the avatar they've chosen for FC Sisko. Yeah, you've mentioned that before, Slag. I love it because I think it's very appropriate for the episode, but you've made it known. You made it known. Grinded your Reliant, fair. You already have the 68 surveys faction bought out. It's still 67. Yeah, you know what's crazy on this account? Again, because I do certain content quite regularly. Look how close I am to a Crenshaw. This is a level 63 account. It's over halfway to the blueprints of a Crenshaw. I mean, by the time I hit 70, I'll have free epics waiting. And that's also a really fun feeling. Like, I'm excited about that. I think that's freaking awesome. Like, I'm probably going to have all of them free to play, maybe. Obviously, for whatever reason, my polls have not been very kind to me when it comes to Romulans, which honestly, am I complaining? No, because the Romulans are icky. They give me the ick, as the kids would say today. But, gotten some Enterprise E, and I've gotten a lot of Crenshaw shards. So, it's pretty good. All right, Choose Life. I hope you have a great, productive day. Stay awesome. You get your alliance back to doing Crenum Formatas. Same. I actually need to go do some because I think I'm out of the currency to do the turn-in now. I finally blew through the stash I had of that currency, and I am now broke. Yeah. So, This one, I can't make a pull anymore. I have pulled my last pull, but I've been consistently getting these right here, man. It's crazy. I don't know what the math is on that. I'd have to go through the little I button here, but I don't understand this. Like, this is one of those that I'm hesitant to bring up on stream because surely they didn't mean to do this ratio. Surely that ratio is supposed to be inverted, right? Like, I feel like I should take this off the screen. I feel like this needs to don't, you didn't see that. But anyway, that's why I'm going to end up with, that's why I'm going to end up with the epics before I'm even level 70 on this account, because Formation Armadas. Formation Armadas. And yeah, it is a relativity tier, but still, the point I'm making, Paul, is 90 to 10. I mean, that's crazy. My relativity is not even maxed. That's just crazy. But yeah, you are right. It does adjust based on the relativity. Even more reason to dive into your relativity. It's just, it shocks me that, again, understanding that the relativity tier helps. It shocks me that it gets to this ratio, right? It's just really, really surprising. So that's how I'm going to end up with my epics. And again, that's just something that the early adopters of G6 never had, right? The early adopters in G6 had to work hard for their Crenshaw packs, you know? They had to work hard for their Crenshaw packs. This guy gets it for free. So if you wait a year, there you go. Oh, you said something about the Serene Squall, and I just got her to tier 10, level 50 with the skin, making it look a lot better. That research is key, as mining transit now counts for mining ops on my dailies. Yeah, Serene Squall is fine. Yeah, I mine a little bit every day, not a lot. And that's not every day, I'm sorry, every week. I'm not real big on mining, obviously. I mostly OPC hunt. But the Serene Squall is fantastic. It is fantastic. Just waiting on maxing out a couple of my specialty ships. Hey, hold on, y'all. Got kids again. 1 second. The joys of working from home. All right, we're back. Darn children. Lion's been running Random Formation 70 since the first week. So you'll never run out. And see, mine did that for a long time, and we just haven't been doing them a lot lately because I think everybody has the stuff. I bet if I started them right now, I could get a group going. But I think it's just one of those that, like, we ran them so much, everybody's got such a backlog that they haven't felt the need to jump in and do that. But hey, Angry Lou, good to see you. Hey, Curly Hawk, good to see you. Just pulled your 50 victory chest. You got 50 Scimitar. Hey, look, I would take a free ship. Am I a Romulan fan? Of course not. But would I take a free ship? Absolutely. Give me 50 Scimitars. I don't care. I am happy that it seems to be leaning heavily into Crenshaw for me, though. It's very appropriate to the lore of Rev Deuce. Now, as I've said that, watch the next time you see me pull it, I'm going to get nothing but Romulan. But it's actually been very nice. Yeah. Been very nice. DTI is such a weird store. Pretty much the only place in the game with good percentages and cost-effective multi-chest claims. Yeah, again, like, it's why I'm so hesitant to, like, really say anything. Like, gosh, it feels dirty to talk about it because, like, I'm looking over my shoulder at any moment. Like, are they going to take this away from me? Like, this is going to flip on me? So, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from on that one. But at the same time, it's there. It's available for you. Again, another reason to focus on the relativity. If you've not unlocked the relativity, absolutely recommend going through its loop, unlocking the relativity. And if y'all ever need help, how do I get this special ship? Because I get it. There's a lot of them. Don't forget, in our ops progression spreadsheet that all the content creators, or at least a lot of us, contribute to, has all that information. So you can see what the locks are. You can see how to source them. So for example, we're talking about the relativity. You source it in the DTI faction. Sorry, hard to see because I'm in the way, but just move it over here. So you can list all the sourcings for these different things. So you get that one from actually in the DTI faction itself. You get the revenue from the Continuum Refinery, the Vindicator, Terran Faction Store, and Alliance Tournaments, et cetera, et cetera. And it also has the days or weeks, how long it takes to get it. I've got the rankings for G4 players. I know some people still gripe at me about the relativity ranking, but keep in mind that's mostly refinery rankings. Then we've got the nice to have, should you skip it, etc. Yeah. Also, I love the Vengeance having can't have LOL right now. That's pretty funny. Anyway, that's our ops progression spreadsheet. I'll go ahead and share it in the chat in case you don't have it, but it also is in our Discord. For anybody who ever joins our Discord, we've got all that in the volunteer charts channel. So, because it says the Scimitar is one of the most bad in a fun way, most powerful Alpha Quadrant ship. Not in this game. Not in this game. In this game, that thing is, well, it exists. So, that's a positive. It exists. Yeah. It is definitely not one of the strongest ships in STFC, sadly. But if you love the lore of it, yeah, I talk about this all the time. That's absolutely a reason to invest your time and your effort. And if you love the Romulans, you love the Scimitar, absolutely go after it. I would strongly recommend it. This game is shocking statement about to be made. It is a game. I know. Surprised when I learned as well. It's supposed to be fun. And if that's fun for you, absolutely. Just, it is not, just don't, what I'm saying though, is don't expect it to be OP and just dominating. Because that's not its role. But it is cool. And sometimes that's enough. Not everything needs to be amazing. Sometimes it's just cool to be cool. Speaking of, let's upgrade our relativity to tier 11. Why not? Especially since it still costs cheap platinum. There we go. That should reset our couple pulls. You have all 3 G6 epics. Crenshaw's your favorite. I mean, it's my favorite for PvP. And it still has its negatives, right? It's my favorite as well. So we'll go ahead and pull more of these. Wait for Thursday? Nah. You know I don't wait for events, Samo. Rev stopped playing like that a long time ago. I stopped playing like that a long time ago, and I'm much happier. Much happier. All right. Good afternoon. Seeing how... Oh, my Lanta, Corey. Hope you have fun. Just maxed the Daredex as my first 60 epic because it's clearly the best looking. And see, look, I love the next generation and I love the Daredex, but I still think it's the worst looking of the 3 epics. And I still think the 3 epics at level 60 are the best looking ships in the game. But the Daredex is number 3. I mean, the Enterprise D is the Enterprise D. If you want to argue that it's not as nice, I mean, you can make the argument. You're an idiot and I love you, but you're wrong. But, yeah, I just... People have opinions, and opinions are okay. I have to remind myself, you're allowed to think the Romulans are okay. I have to remind myself that's okay. You're allowed. Warp engines, of course, I don't have enough. Let me go see if I can do these pulls, because we're going to swap these ships now that I got that better warp range. Those are fighting words. Look, I'm openly saying it's one of the best looking ships in the game. The Daredex. I still think it's number 3 of the 3. But I would still put it in the top 10. Okay? I'm giving the Romulans their credit. I have been very vocal saying that if you want to go with what the best ships look like, well, I just want the ships that look the best. From G3 to G6, go Romulan only. You'll have the best looking group of ships in the game. G7, the Romulans are the most hideous ships in the game. You cannot defend the Romulans in G7. They have ugly ships. Ugly. Just ugly ships in G7. But G3 through G6, they have arguably the best looking group of ships that exist. I still think the Rotaran and the Enterprise D are more iconic and look better. But that's my opinion. I don't expect y'all all to agree. I just expect me to be right. Okay? That's all. Okay? We're good? We still love each other? Good. I'm glad. Let me go ahead and do all these real quick. Confirm. Bulk refine. Rest in peace, Robin G7. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, anybody here who is in G7 can probably back me up on that. Like, I'm not just talking trash about the Romulans. They really just don't look very good. And if anybody actually slags here, any of our G7s here, if y'all want to share some, if you just want to send me all 3 pics of the Romulans so I can show people, they just don't look good. Like, when you see Romulan ships, there's a certain style they have. And whether you're looking at like the ships that came out of Nemesis that were very sleek, whether you include the Scimitar in that, whether you include the Daredecks, there's a certain look the Romulans have. They've lost that look in G7. And it is just very, very ugly. You love 56 and you would buy an Enterprise E skin until I get the real thing. That's fair, Rev. Honestly, it is fair. But one of my G7 players, send me the 3 pictures of the Romulan ships that people haven't seen yet because I don't have them handy. And I'll show everybody what I mean. For example, one of the Romulan ships in G7 is just the silent hostile. Chatterfang, go into your build menu and just take a screenshot of the 3 different ones so I can put them on the screen. Yeah, just go into here and take a quick screenie of it, if you wouldn't mind. That way I can show everybody who can't see it yet. Hey, Daniel, good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in. So, and it's sad. Like, I hate trashing because if there was something going for the Romulans, like that I could never counter, because people would bring this up all the time. Like, Ref, they look beautiful. Look at this amazing Daredecks. All right. Gosh, they're uglier than I remember. Here you go. And thank you to multiple people who are sending me these screenshots, by the way. Y'all are awesome for contributing. Bruno sent me some, as well did Sinbob. Thank you both. I'm going to go ahead and just put some on the screen here. This is what the Romulans have. Again, put in your brain. In fact, no. Before we even do that, I'm going to put the classic, the icon on the screen. Remember, classic Romulan styling, right? Everybody is familiar with Romulan styles, right? We're all familiar with it. We know the Romulans. They're sexy. They can be sleek, but they still keep that same vibe, right? Everybody can read the room. We see the vibe. We know what Rev is talking about. Even the Corvus, which was a unique design they came up with, it kept that style. The Valdor, which is from Nemesis. It's the way the curves, but still having a sleek look. The Romulans have a theme. Here is your uncommon Romulan. Here's your rare. What is this weird silent hostile Cylon from the original Battlestar Galactica hybrid? And then this. Pointy Wings McGee. It's a freaking Australian, whatever you call the thing that punches you back in the face after you throw it. They're hideous. They're ugly. The freaking boomerang. The Cylon silent hostile. And I don't even know what this ugly thing is supposed to be. They just have awful looking ships in G7. And I'm sorry, Romulan fans. I'm not trying to single you out. I'm openly saying y'all had the best looking ships in the game. And then STFC just took it away from you. They took it away from you. I'm sorry. And for this to be the rare, by the way, the snakehead, for this to be the rare, you have got, I think as our British people would say, what is it? You're giving a Mickey. You're taking the piss, whatever. What is this? Are you serious right now? Like this made it through multiple employees' stamp of approval. You can't be serious right now. Anyway, the Romulans just got the short end of the stick in G7. And to be clear, I don't think any of them have amazing looks in G7. I'll go ahead and show you some of the other ones because Sinbob sent all of them. So here's the Klingons. At least the Klingons kept to the same style, right? So not saying the Klingons look great, but they at least kept the style that you expect from Klingons. So here you go. Klingon 1. Klingon 2, Klingon 3. They look like generic Klingon ships, but they at least still look Klingon. I'm not saying they look good. I honestly don't think the G7 Klingons look good, but they still look Klingon. They just look kind of like if a minor house in the Klingon Empire who lived 100 light years away from Kronos designed their own ships, it would be like these weird one-offs. Like this is the red-headed steppe Klingons ships, but they still look Klingon. That's the key. The Romulan ships don't even look Romulan. And the Fed ships look I mean, this is just a saber class. If you've followed Star Trek lore for a long time, the Socrates is literally just a saber class, except it has like these weird Revenant pieces at the bottom. Like they took a saber class from Star Trek lore, slammed some Revenant parts on the bottom for some reason. That's what the Socrates is. It looks Federation. This is the Stargazer. This is straight out of Star Trek Picard. It's a cannon ship. And then you have the Enterprise M414, because apparently they weren't allowed to use the Enterprise from Picard. And it looks Starfleet. It looks Starfleet. Not my favorites, but you have a cannon ship, a mostly cannon ship, and then a something. That's my thing with the Romulan G7s. They don't even look like Romulan ships. They look like, just put something out there. So. Some good things have happened, some bad things have happened. So, and there were some awesome ships. There were even awesome Romulan ships that they could have taken from like Star Trek Picard that they didn't. So they chose some. I mean, what you're seeing is ships from Picard, by the way. But there were other ones that were there that they didn't use that they could have, and that also really bugs me. Anyway, like I would have loved, they actually showed an original Warbird, and 7 of 9 ship actually destroyed it really easily. But you had one of the OG Warbirds from Star Trek Picard, a Bird of Prey, was one of the highlights of Picard season 3, in my opinion. Well, that they didn't use that. They could have used that. I mean, if you're just picking things from Star Trek Picard, which, again, they did. There was a lot of things they could have chosen, even for the Romulans, and they didn't. And, again, the Snakehead, which is, again, it's basically a shuttle. It's like a runabout. Doesn't look Romulan. That's a blame to be put on the Picard people. But also, there were just better options to be chosen. So, anyway, there's Rev's opinion. There's Rev's opinion. Off 70... Fed ship is the Oberth. Let me re-look up the Oberth and see if I agree with you. Similar, but not the same. But I get where you're going. And in fact, it actually kind of looks like we're combining what you're saying and what I'm saying into one ship. So, for those who have never seen a Saber class, yeah, I mean, it's like you combined a Saber and an Oberth. So there's the Saber class, and there's the Oberth. Yeah, completely fair. Completely fair. So, anyway, for those that, I'm going to put it up there. Bird of Prey, Star Trek Picard. If y'all never saw that, I loved it. It was one of my favorite pieces in Picard. They had this sexy throwback Romulan Bird of Prey in there. It was one of my favorite things in Picard. This was one of my favorite things in Picard. Oh, did I not put it on screen? My bad. But they didn't use that. Here's the Saber class. And here's the Oberth. Yeah, there's also the New Orleans class. There's a lot of things that they could have gone to. And I wish the Romulans looked better. So, that's all I'm saying. We also thought planetary invasion would be a neat thing to add to a game, a new area where allows to win a planetary battle. Yeah, that's been brought up before. I think that's a great idea. That's actually been brought up before. I love that idea. Let me get my warp engines upgraded real quick. And we're going to swap this, and we're going to go back to that. I need to do the Gorn Eviscerator. I'm upgrading the wrong ship. That's fine. I mean, I need to make the GS-31 better anyway. That maybe Major Samo would love me. If I don't have a good GS-31, she'll stop loving me. So it was important to do. But Gorn Eviscerator is actually what I need to be upgrading. Because they just rushed the release of the ships, no thought involved. And look, I think Scopely put thought involved. I don't think thought is really the issue, in my opinion. I don't really feel like they didn't put thought into it. I just think that they made a wrong choice. I'll just put it that way. I think that Scopely put thought into what they're doing. I just think they picked the wrong thing. My opinion is they could have done with other Romulan ships that we've seen, not just in Star Trek Picard, but in other modern Star Trek series. I just think Romulans had more to provide, and they went with bad choices. That's just what I believe. Right? And I understand the argument of, hey, we're using canon designs. I think that's completely fair. But if you're just asking my take, in my opinion, there are better options available in the canon they could have chosen. G6 gold skins are all pay only. Is there any free sourcing? No. Wait. No. Now I'm second guessing myself. Is there free sourcing for the golds? No. Right? Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think they're talking about the gold mining skins, Jay. I think they're talking about the gold Crenshaw skins. Like gold Crenshaw, gold Scimitar. The only question is, I don't remember if there's a free path once you max them out. Is there a free path when you max them out? Bruno says yes. You can via hazards. So once you max them for free, George and Bruno say you can get them, and Tony, via hazards. And to be clear, I'm not talking about the mining ones. Those you can get, the amalgam ones. I'm about the Crenshaw, Scimitar, and Enterprise E gold skins. You can get them via hazards once you've maxed out the ships. Thank you, chat. Thank you. You click on the skin and it tells you if you max them. Oh, nice. Well, that's easy to do. Let's go do that. It's always good to have, like, knowledge from the game. So let's find Skimmy. Where are you at, Skimmy? Of course you'll be in the epics. Duh, Rev. Gosh, there's so many skins I don't have. There we go. Once a lock buffs obtained. Oh, that doesn't tell me anything. Let's see this one. That one doesn't tell me anything either. You just told me it would tell me, Bruno. It doesn't say that. Little symbol. I clicked both little symbols. I clicked both little eyes. Ah, click that. Okay. Earth through the faction store when reaching tier 18. Gotcha. Thank you. You would think they'd put that on the little information buttons. Gosh, see, that's another great example of STFC and why it's such a frustrating game. You have two info buttons. Neither of them tell you how to actually get it. If that is not the most STFC thing, you have two info buttons. Neither info button tells you how to actually obtain the item. You have to go like guess, accidentally click here. Oh, here's how. That, again, STFC, man. I love this game, but it's the little things that drive us wonky. That's one of those little things that just drives you insane. Like, how do you have a game that doesn't even give me information buttons? Then I get to a page where there's two information buttons and neither information button tells me anything. Nice. Okay. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Good times. Hidden secrets. And see, this is also why I'm very openly saying I don't know everything in the game, because it's easy to miss things. It's easy to forget things. And more importantly, it's hard to find out things. So thank you, chat. This is why we work well together. This is why we work well together. My Atlanta. Thank you, Scopely. Never change. Actually, please change almost everything. But thank you for this game existing. I will say thank you for that. You watch Red for info? Exactly. I mean, I can tell you how to crew your Crenshaw. Don't be the person who watched my Chang video, put Chang on your Crenshaw, and then come to Rev and be like, Rev, it doesn't work. Yeah, because I literally said in the video, don't put it on your Crenshaw. Like, verbatim, I said, don't put it on your Crenshaw. And multiple people did. And then they came to Rev like, your crew is wrong. You're stupid. I'm like, oh, God, why me? Anyway, I appreciate you too, Rev12010. I'm sorry, Rev T. Yeah, you put Chang on your cube or your Vengeance or your level 73 Goblin. Critshot's still good? Oh, absolutely. The Chang thing just requires a heavy firing pattern. The Crenshaw's still good. Like, I'm not telling people to go out and skip their Crenshaws. That's definitely not what I'm saying. It's just one of those that, like, we're at a state of the game where context is important. We talked about this on State of the Game podcast as well. Context is really important. And if you try to skip over that context, you end up with bad advice. So, what's up, Dragan? Shout out to Croatia. You've watched the Chang video 3 times and still don't fully understand how Chang procs line up with enemy firing patterns. It lines up with your firing. Are you saying you don't really understand how he affects the enemy's firing pattern? Okay. Your weapon 2 activates. It can delay weapons 2. Okay. You're right. It is confusing. In fact, one of the great comments by Quasel in the State of the Game was, if you don't understand Chang, it's a great way of showing not understanding how the game itself does its rounds and vice versa. If you understand Chang, you probably have a really good understanding of STFC. So each round of a fight has a sub round. There are 3 sub rounds in each round. So we're in round 1, and each different sub round has a series of checks it goes through. Like, are we, for example, are we finding hull breach? Are we activating hull breach? The first thing that gets checked before anything else is actually your hull repair. That's the first check that goes through all the sub rounds. Now, we have all this posted. If anybody is really nerdy enough and wants to know, it is in the STFC toolbox, which is a web tool that we have available. And here I'm gonna pull up game mechanics and I'll pull up some of these rounds. I actually tried to get Hammy to post this, but he didn't. He wouldn't post it. He said information overload, and I get it. Not everybody wants all this information. So let's do a quick, I've covered this in a video before, but let's put this on the screen and try to, give a basic of how some of this stuff works. So in combat, you have rounds. Obviously, each round has sub rounds, and each of those sub rounds is designed to look for certain things, whether that be a weapon firing, officers triggering, etc. So here's your basic overview of each round and sub round and how it affects. So as that pertains to Chang, obviously weapons fire in order, right? Shot 1, shot 2, weapon 1, weapon 2, etc. So if Chang down here gets activated by your weapon, so inside that round, that sub round, obviously we've already bypassed this, which is for both ships, right? Weapons fire in order. So if my second weapon is what activates Chang, remember, I've got a 50% chance of each shot of each weapon to activate on that weapon. So if my weapon 2 fires 3 times, I have 3 chances for Chang to activate on weapon 2. So you can only activate once, but I have 3 chances if my weapon fires 3 times to activate. But if I do it here, I'm not delaying what happened here, because I've moved to the next layer of the sub round. So I'm going to delay something next round, but only if it's already applied to my sub round. I get it. It can be very confusing. But we have all of these logs and all of these pictures on the tool to break it down if you're curious how all this stuff works and you want to learn more. And if you just want to see the raw listing, again, start round, we're looking for hull repair. We finish our hull repair. Starting the first sub round of round 1, we're now looking for officer abilities. Then we're looking for forbidden tech buffs. Then we actually get into our attack start, which then starts tracking officer abilities. So if you're curious about all this, I'll put this into the chat as well so y'all can experiment for yourself. Obviously, in the YouTube videos, I try to keep them short and just tell you the answer, because most people don't want to do all the nitty gritty of how this game actually determines burning and hull breach and sub rounds. I'm just here to tell you what works and when. But if you do want to get into the deeper dirty of how all this happens, we've got tools to help you learn. If you want to learn. And I understand that most people probably don't want to go through all that. So, is there a cap to hull repair in combat? Define cap. I mean, technically the answer is no, but there currently does not exist anything that can repair your hull to where you literally never die. As in, you can't repair more hull than you have, in terms of, I start with 5 million and I'm repairing 6 million every round. But you can repair a significant portion, which is why Picard Hue is so valuable, for example, and why the refits are so valuable, and why everybody likes FC Sisko's ability. You can repair a significant portion, but you can't do enough to where you survive forever. Does that make sense? So, yeah, 95%. So I guess it is an appropriate way to word it as a cap. You can't survive forever, but you can survive a heck of a lot. Yeah, 95. Thank you, Pseudo. Good to see you, by the way. So it's not one of those things, for example, if you've got the ability to repair and you can do a whole like cheesy Pike Moreau, multiply it by 1.2, and now we're at 120%. You can't do that with hull repair. But you can get a significant section of hull repair. So you thought you could pull some magic with hull repair with the NX-01 and Zendia Aquatics? Okay, so that's a different... It's going to sound very confusing, Absalom. That's different. So, what you have in that scenario, the difference between like a field repair and an in-combat ability of Leslie is the hull repair is doing a flat repair to where you're at. Leslie is artificially repairing your ship in the battle. Everything Leslie does gets removed as soon as the battle ends. That is not how a field repair works. That sustains. Yay, confusion. So Leslie, let's say he does percentage repair you 10 million hull. If you've only got 3 million hull, the 10 million he did gets removed as soon as the battle ends, so your ship goes boom. That's why the Leslie punch-up thing is neato, but depending on how much you repair, you might just go boom anyway. Right? You've also got a lot of things that play into the NX-01, like favors and stuff, that change that a little bit. But that's a little bit different, because if you run the Leslie crew out right now and you're like, let's just use like a lower stat player and less weapons, less research, easier to track. If you do that like on a level 34 and you go try to punch up on a big hostile, Leslie will let you punch up on one hostile and then you'll go boom. So the main thing with the NX-01 is you're surviving the big shot and you're able to then shoot more times. You're getting past that big round. But even if that big round fires, you die instantly if you're using the Leslie. So it's a little bit different. It's confusing and annoying without me throwing it into an actual combat log and showing you the difference. Yeah, fun stuff in STFC, and it's only gotten more and more complicated as time has progressed. More and more things getting added in. The battle log is... I hate to use the word overloaded because it sounds like I'm dumping on STFC. The point of me saying that is not to dump on STFC, but the battle logs themselves, in terms of every layer that gets done now, is really overwhelming. So it's really overwhelming just because there's so many things that are tracked now between ISO, Apex, etc. Let me see if we got the original combat formula here. Where's our raw combat formula? Game mechanics, hull. It's effect stacking, round structure. I just want to show them the... Oh, here's the healing stuff. If y'all are curious about healing, include that. I was looking for the actual... It's like down here, you can see there's the isolytic, how ISO works. So A is going to then bracket B plus another set of bracket 1 plus B, and then you multiply that by C inside the, remember your PEMDOS, and that's what A is multiplying all those individual elements. But that's your regular attack damage. B is attacker's ISO damage bonus, and C is ISO cascade bonus. And we're doing all those to then find out how much ISO damage we're putting out. That works inside the greater arcing damage profile because we have to find our standard damage before we can find our ISO damage. It's gotten really annoying. But anyway, here's your healing. Better explained. Yeah. Yep. Do you think next month's officers will be a counter to the hierarchy crew? I think it can, but I would say this. This year, I think a big reason you've seen less interest in officer leaderboards and stuff on the weekends is because there's been so many PvP officers. I love PvP. I'm a PvP guy, but man, they've really been going crazy in terms of PvP officers. There's just been a lot of them, and I don't understand the logic as to why there have been so many PvP officers. But they've been going pretty crazy in the number of PvP officers they keep releasing. I think they need to go back to doing regular officers. Let me see. Do we have in here a... Yeah, I don't actually think we have written out on this website the full battle log math formula. It's just we've got it broken down in pieces. Like figuring out mitigation is a real pain in the keister these days. It's always been a pain in the keister, but now it's gotten a lot more painful. But for those that didn't know, each stat is weighted differently. So like if you're an interceptor, your primary defense stat, in that case it would be dodge, is 0.55. So every piece of that, so every one has a 0.55 value versus 0.2 for the other ones, which is also why the battle triangle, or how the battle triangle works. The battle triangle is just determining mitigation, essentially. And you have an advantage if you're in an interceptor versus a cube, because you have a higher weight to your piercing stat versus their defense stat. Anyway, this is why I keep my videos 8 to 10 minutes, because the level of complication that goes into the math behind the scenes, most people just don't want to deal with. If you do like being a huge nerd, we have all these things available that you can check out, though. Yeah. All these things you check out. What's the most important research to do? Right now, I still lean towards ISO. It does depend on where you're at in the game. Like, for example, G7 players, anything that gives you any type of field repair or any type of hull repair, like Picard Hue field repairs, are worth their weight in gold. You know, I mean, because those repair costs are insane. Those are insane. At the same time, like, the individual stat that everybody should be focusing on and still is very relevant is ISO. ISO Cascade, ISO Defense, and ISO Standard ISO Damage are very, very valuable. All right, y'all. I'm going to wrap this up for the day. I got to get the podcast edited for tomorrow so y'all can check it out. I do love and appreciate y'all. If you need anything, though, my Discord DMs are open. I got to catch up on a lot of DMs from yesterday. So if y'all need to hit me up there. Live long and plunder. Stay safe out there. Deuces. I'll catch y'all. More information tomorrow. Remember, Stay the Game podcast tomorrow. And big update coming Tuesday. We'll have notes on that for y'all. Hopefully, y'all be happy with it. I'm being positive about it. Appreciate y'all. Deuces. I said it again. I'm gone. Again.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.